Ever feel like you've seen every mystery the golden age of Hollywood has to offer? Well, think again, because these 13 gaslight-soaked masterpieces from the 1940s will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about suspense. From shadowy mansions to fog-drenched city streets, we're taking you on a journey through cinema's most haunting tales of manipulation, paranoia, and razor-sharp suspicion. Prepare to step inside a world where every glance could be a clue, every whisper a threat, and nothing, absolutely nothing, is as it seems. Are you ready to be unsettled, enthralled, and thoroughly entertained? Then buckle up, cinephiles. Let's unearth these legendary films that defined an era and still keep us guessing decades later. Number 1. Gaslight, 1944. Let's kick things off with the very film that gave the term gaslighting to the world, George Cukor's Gaslight from 1944. Imagine yourself in the fog-shrouded streets of Victorian London, where Paula Alquist, played with heartbreaking vulnerability by Ingrid Bergman, finds her world slowly collapsing. Newly married to the enigmatic Gregory Anton, portrayed by Charles Boyer, Paula begins to doubt her own sanity as objects go missing, memories seem to vanish, and the gaslights in her home dim, always at the most chilling moments. But what's truly remarkable is the sheer intensity of the performances. Bergman's Oscar-winning turn brings you inside Paula's mind, where fear and confusion blend into a masterclass of emotional storytelling. The supporting cast shines too. Angela Lansbury's debut as the sly housemaid Nancy is so striking, she scored an Oscar nomination right out of the gate. Behind the scenes, MGM famously bought the rights to the earlier British version and even tried to erase it from existence, desperate to claim the definitive adaptation. The sets, constructed with painstaking detail, envelop you in claustrophobic dread, making the house itself a central character. Though it was a commercial hit, Gaslight's real legacy is cultural, giving language to emotional abuse and influencing countless films that followed. Today, its reputation as a psychological thriller is unshakable. Could you trust your own mind in Paula's shoes? Let us know down below. Number 2. Suspicion, 1941. Alfred Hitchcock's Suspicion from 1941 is pure anxiety in film form, a tale that dangles danger just out of reach and keeps you guessing until the final, breathless moment. Joan Fontaine stars as Lena, a sheltered heiress who's swept off her feet by the irresistible Johnny Eisgarth, played by the ever-charming Cary Grant. But the magic fades as Johnny's secrets start to surface: gambling debts, lies, and a possible murderous intent. Fontaine's Oscar-winning performance as Lena is a journey from starry-eyed innocence to quivering, edge-of-the-seat suspicion. Her chemistry with Grant is magnetic, made all the more electric by Grant's ambiguous, sometimes sinister charm. Does he love her, or does he want her gone? Hitchcock, the master of suspense, uses every cinematic trick: shadowy lighting, towering staircases, and that infamous glowing glass of milk to keep the audience squirming. Behind the scenes, the film's ending was fiercely debated. Hitchcock's original vision had Johnny as a cold-blooded killer, but the studio balked, unwilling to tarnish Cary Grant's star image. The result? An ambiguous climax that still divides viewers. The movie grossed over $4 million, cementing RKO's fortunes in the early 40s. Over the decades, Suspicion has become a touchstone for the genre, admired for its psychological complexity and Hitchcock's bravura style. Which side of the debate are you on? Do you trust Johnny, or do you suspect the worst? Number 3. The Spiral Staircase, 1946. If you want a film that seeps into your bones with every creak and thunderclap, The Spiral Staircase is your midnight delight. Set in a sprawling, storm-battered mansion, the story follows Helen, a mute servant whose silence makes her a prime target for a serial killer who preys on women with physical disabilities. Dorothy McGuire's performance as Helen is nothing short of mesmerizing. Her expressive face, coupled with the helplessness of her situation, pulls you into her world, a world where every shadow might hide a killer. Ethel Barrymore, in an Oscar-nominated role, looms as the bedridden matriarch with secrets of her own, adding gravitas and gothic flavor. Robert Siodmak, a director steeped in noir, crafts each frame like a haunted painting. The single-set production allowed him to orchestrate long, unnerving camera movements, most famously those chilling glides down the spiral staircase itself. Fun fact, Siodmak demanded authentic thunderstorms, even if it meant soaking the set, to get real, raw reactions from his actors. Though not a blockbuster at release, the film's eerie atmosphere and proto-slasher vibes earned it a cult following. Modern critics now hail it as a milestone in psychological horror, a masterclass in building suspense without ever showing too much. Can you brave the stairs, or will you turn back at the first flicker of lightning? Number 4. Laura, 1944. Few films capture obsession and glamour with the elegance of Otto Preminger's Laura. This isn't just a murder mystery, it's a cinematic dream, with every frame oozing smoky intrigue and romantic longing. Detective Mark McPherson, played with steely resolve by Dana Andrews, investigates the apparent murder of advertising executive Laura Hunt, but soon finds himself falling for her portrait and for the enigmatic woman she represents. Gene Tierney's Laura is both a siren and a mystery, drawing every character and every viewer into her orbit. Clifton Webb, as the acerbic columnist Waldo Lydecker, is delightfully sinister, dripping with both wit and malice. The supporting cast, including Vincent Price as Laura's feckless fiancé, adds layers of complexity and suspicion. Production was fraught with tension. Preminger had to fight to keep Webb in the cast, defying studio demands for a bigger name. The lush Art Deco sets and that unforgettable portrait contribute to the film's spellbinding atmosphere. The theme song Laura became a jazz standard, haunting the airwaves for years. Upon release, the film was a critical and commercial hit, earning 5 Oscar nominations and winning for Best Cinematography. Today, it's praised as one of the most stylish and psychologically rich noirs ever made, a true, achingly beautiful tale of suspicion and desire. Would you fall for Laura, or would you solve the case? Number 5. Phantom Lady, 1944. Now, let's shift gears to a gritty urban thriller. Phantom Lady, directed by Robert Siodmak, delivers suspense with a fevered pulse. When Scott Henderson is wrongly accused of murdering his wife, his only hope lies in finding a mysterious woman he spent the evening with, except no one else seems to remember her at all. Every attempt to clear his name is met with stone walls and dead ends. Ella Raines shines as Carol, Scott's fiercely loyal secretary, who turns amateur detective in a race against time. Franchot Tone, in a rare villainous role, brings chilling unpredictability to the story. Siodmak's direction pushes noir conventions to the limit, using striking angles and surreal lighting, never more so than in the jazz club sequence, where a manic drummer's solo ratchets up the anxiety to 11. Shot during wartime on a tight budget, Phantom Lady used its constraints as strengths. Nighttime location shots, shadowy interiors, and close-quarters tension make the city itself feel hostile. The result was a modest box office performer, but a critical sleeper. Over the decades, its reputation has skyrocketed. Today, it's celebrated for its proto-feminist heroine and relentless pace. Quentin Tarantino cites it as a key influence, a testament to its lasting power. Could you find the Phantom Lady? Or would you become another face lost in the city? Number 6. The Seventh Victim, 1943. If you crave existential dread with your suspense, The Seventh Victim is a must-see. Produced by Val Lewton and directed by Mark Robson, this film dives headfirst into a labyrinth of satanic cults, vanished sisters, and creeping urban paranoia. The plot follows Mary, a naive schoolgirl who arrives in New York searching for her missing sibling, only to stumble into a world of secrets and shadowy threats. Kim Hunter's performance as Mary is a delicate balance of innocence and determination, while Jean Brooks's portrayal of the enigmatic, doomed Jacqueline is unforgettable. Her dark bob and haunted eyes have become iconic among genre fans. The supporting cast, including Tom Conway and Isabel Jewell, adds rich layers to the ever-thickening plot. Filmed on a shoestring RKO budget, the crew maximized atmosphere through inventive set reuse, labyrinthine shadows, and inventive camera work. The infamous shower scene predates Psycho by nearly 2 decades, a sequence so tense it's studied by film students to this day. Though it flopped at the box office, The Seventh Victim was rediscovered by critics and scholars who champion its existential despair and subtle terrors. It's hailed as a precursor to both giallo horror and psychological thrillers, a film that gets under your skin and refuses to leave. Are you brave enough to uncover The Seventh Victim? Number 7. Ministry of Fear, 1944. In Ministry of Fear, paranoia and intrigue run rampant, just as you'd expect from director Fritz Lang. Adapted from Graham Greene's novel, the film opens with Stephen Neal, a man just released from a mental asylum who stumbles into a world of Nazi spies and coded messages after winning a seemingly innocuous cake at a charity raffle. What should be a fresh start quickly spirals into a nightmare of shifting alliances and deadly secrets. Ray Milland is pitch perfect as Stephen, blending confusion, resolve, and everyman charm. Marjorie Reynolds offers a compelling turn as Carla, the mysterious woman who may, or may not, be a trustworthy ally. Lang's mastery of noir visuals is on full display. Rain-slicked streets, looming shadows, and relentless pacing keep viewers on edge throughout. Production was famously tense, with Lang clashing with the studio over script changes and the film's bleak tone. Despite these hurdles, the final cut is a tight 86-minute roller coaster that never lets up. The central cake raffle scene remains one of the most suspenseful sequences in wartime cinema. Initially, the film performed only modestly at the box office, but its reputation has soared over the years. Critics now praise it as a shadow-drenched masterpiece of suspicion, essential for any noir or thriller aficionado. Could you solve the puzzle before Stephen does? Number 8. Rebecca, 1940. The windswept moors, the echoing halls of Manderley, and the ghost of a woman who's never seen, Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, is a Gothic masterpiece that oozes suspicion from every frame. Joan Fontaine stars as the unnamed heroine, swept into marriage by the enigmatic Maxim de Winter. But the couple's happiness is poisoned by the looming presence of Maxim's late first wife, Rebecca, and the chilling Mrs. Danvers, whose devotion to her former mistress borders on the unhinged. Fontaine's nuanced performance won her an Academy Award, while Olivier's brooding Maxime sets the standard for tortured heroes. Judith Anderson's Mrs. Danvers, with her gliding footsteps and icy gaze, remains one of cinema's greatest villains. Hitchcock's direction, in his first American film, is elegant and ruthless, infusing every scene with dread and longing. Behind the scenes, the set was rife with creative tension. Producer David O. Selznick insisted on fidelity to Daphne du Maurier's novel, while Hitchcock wanted more ambiguity. The compromise delivered a film dripping with atmosphere and psychological complexity, one that set the standard for Gothic suspense. A massive commercial and critical success, Rebecca swept the Oscars, including Best Picture. Decades later, its shadows linger, inspiring generations of filmmakers. Would you survive a night at Manderley? Or would Rebecca's memory claim you, too? Number 9. Shadow of a Doubt, 1943. What if your closest relative hides a monstrous secret? Shadow of a Doubt brings this nightmare to suburbia with chilling results. Teresa Wright stars as young Charlie, a bright-eyed girl whose world is turned upside down when her beloved Uncle Charlie comes to visit. The twist? Uncle Charlie might be the notorious Merry Widow murderer. Director Alfred Hitchcock weaves a tapestry of sunny streets and hidden horrors, subverting the image of small-town innocence. Wright is magnetic as the inquisitive niece, while Cotton's performance as the charming yet sinister uncle is a masterclass in duality. Their psychological chess match forms the core of the film. Filmed on location in Santa Rosa, California, Hitchcock encouraged the cast to embrace naturalism and improvisation, enhancing the warmth and believability of the family scenes, making the eventual darkness all the more shocking. Pulitzer winner Thornton Wilder helped pen the script, layering in subtext and sly humor. Though it didn't break box office records, Shadow of a Doubt became a favorite of both critics and Hitchcock himself. Its influence echoes through thrillers and suburban horror tales alike, setting the blueprint for the evil lurking within narrative. Do you trust your family? Think again. Number 10. The Woman in the Window, 1944. If you've ever wondered how quickly an ordinary life can unravel, look no further than Fritz Lang's The Woman in the Window. Edward G. Robinson stars as Professor Richard Wanley, a respectable man who finds himself sucked into a world of murder and blackmail after a chance encounter with the mysterious Alice Reed, played by Joan Bennett. Robinson's transformation from mild-mannered academic to desperate hunted man is nothing short of spellbinding. Bennett is enigmatic and alluring, while Dan Duryea turns up the heat as a relentless blackmailer. Lang's German expressionist roots bleed through every frame, casting long, sinister shadows and filling the screen with a palpable sense of doom. Behind the scenes, the film's most controversial choice was its infamous "It was all a dream" ending, insisted upon by the studio to avoid censorship headaches. While it remains divisive, it also adds a layer of ambiguity that fits perfectly with the film's themes of guilt and fear. The tight production schedule and budget constraints forced Lang and his team to get creative, resulting in some of the most innovative camera work of the era. Despite a modest box office, the film has become a late-night cult favorite, beloved for its lush cinematography and twisting narrative. Can you tell where reality ends and suspicion begins? Number 11. My Name is Julia Ross, 1945. My Name is Julia Ross is a pure, unadulterated gaslight thriller, lean, mean, and utterly nerve-shredding. When the recently unemployed Julia takes a secretarial job at a mysterious mansion, she wakes up to find everyone insisting she's someone else entirely, trapped in a nightmarish scheme to erase her identity. Nina Foch commands the screen as Julia, channeling both terror and fierce determination. Dame May Whitty's portrayal of Mrs. Hughes, the matriarch orchestrating the plot, is chilling in its coldness and control. Director Joseph H. Lewis, known for his B-movie ingenuity, cranks up the suspense with tight pacing and claustrophobic settings, making every corridor and locked door a fresh ordeal. The production was shot in a breakneck 18 days, using clever tricks to stretch a modest budget, like reusing sets and focusing on Julia's perspective to create mounting dread. The screenplay, based on Anthony Gilbert's novel, distills the story down to its most essential heart-stopping beats. While the film made only a modest splash upon release, its reputation has skyrocketed over the decades. Modern critics and fans praise it as a proto-feminist nightmare and a direct influence on later classics like Vertigo and Misery. If you value pure, uncut suspense, Julia Ross's ordeal is a must-watch. Would you escape or lose yourself entirely? Number 12. So Evil My Love, 1948. Set in the murky backstreets of Victorian London, So Evil My Love is a darkly seductive tale of love, deception, and psychological manipulation. Ann Todd stars as Olivia, a recently widowed missionary who becomes ensnared by the charming and utterly ruthless Mark Bellis, played by Ray Milland. As she falls deeper under his spell, Olivia's morals and sanity are put to the ultimate test. Ray Milland is magnetic as Bellis, oozing danger and charisma in equal measure. Todd's transformation from grieving innocence to desperate conspirator is nuanced and heartbreaking. Director Lewis Allen conjures an atmosphere thick with menace, using lavish costumes and meticulously detailed sets to heighten the sense of claustrophobia and doom. The film is loosely based on a real-life Victorian murder case, giving it an extra edge of authenticity. Production was marked by tension, with debates over just how dark the story could get, especially for post-war audiences hungry for escapism. Allen insisted on a morally ambiguous ending, challenging censors and adding to the film's modern edge. Box office returns were modest, but the film's cult status grew thanks to TV syndication and later critical reappraisal. Today, So Evil My Love is admired for its sinister elegance and slow-burning psychological horror. Could you resist Mark Bellis, or would you become his next victim? Number 13. Sorry, Wrong Number, 1948. Few films crank up the tension like Sorry, Wrong Number. Barbara Stanwyck stars as Leona Stevenson, a wealthy but bedridden woman who accidentally overhears a murder plot on her telephone. The rest of the film is a race against time and rising panic as Leona slowly realizes she may be the intended victim, trapped and helpless in her luxurious home. Stanwyck delivers a powerhouse performance, conveying mounting terror with every frantic phone call and desperate gasp. Burt Lancaster is equally compelling as her beleaguered husband, torn between guilt and self-preservation. Director Anatole Litvak adapts Lucille Fletcher's legendary radio play with flair, using flashbacks and overlapping conversations to keep audiences on edge. The production expanded the radio drama's single-setting premise, but never loses its suffocating grip. Stanwyck reportedly listened to the original broadcast repeatedly to capture the right tone of hysteria and dread. The screenplay's real-time unfolding and relentless pacing became a template for countless later thrillers. Sorry, Wrong Number was a surprise box office smash and earned Stanwyck another Oscar nomination. Its legacy as a nerve-shredding classic endures, with critics and fans alike hailing it as one of cinema's great suspense tales. After watching, you might never answer the phone the same way again. Did you spot every clue, or were you as blindsided as Leona? And there you have it, 13 razor-sharp gaslight mysteries from the 1940s that set the gold standard.